Yeah, they're here.
We're here! Yay! Everyone give a hand to Adam for fixing our technical difficulties. Thank you so much to everyone for being so patient. We're so sorry about that. But welcome, welcome, welcome to Literarily Wasted. Finally, my name is Talia.
I'm Christy.
And Adam and Lucas are over there making sure things work.
I'm about to go sit in the chair. Yeah. This is where I'm going.
Well, now that everyone has drinks and snacks, I'm going to scoot this over so I don't have to look at myself, but we can read what you're saying. Hi, Jay. Thank you for, this is my beret. It is actually from France. I had a friend over there ship it to me. Spoiler alert, it was made in China. That's not the point. All right, let's just jump right in because we're late. Does everyone want to talk about what they thought of the second half of the book? And by everyone, I mean you. Because we're doing things. What did...
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Literarily Wasted. We're on time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That only took, what, like 13 minutes
Technically,
to figure out?
we're 2 minutes early because I am always 15 minutes late. So...
Oh, man.
Well,
Well,
Philip on
let's-
YouTube said, I assumed Celia's dad was sitting in the chair. You sat on Foxborough.
He deserved it.
He did.
Let's talk about the Night Circus.
Do you want to catch your breath or do you want to start?
No, I only had to run from there to here, but that that was pretty exciting, wasn't it?
I'll start. Fine.
You can
Okay.
we can unpin this
Can we-
comment now.
How do you unpin it?
I don't know.
No,
Whatever.
it lives there forever. So, oh, thank you. Yay! So I will start. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm going to make some people unhappy. Let me be clear. I did enjoy this book. I did. I enjoyed reading it. I'm not sad that I read it. And one day I might read it again just to see if I feel the same way. But for me, the second half of this book was a letdown.
Well,
I'm
you wanna-
kind of disappointed.
Well, let's not. I mean, we're jumping to like big conclusions here. Do we want to kind of like?
We're talking about how we feel.
Feelings,
Excuse me,
yeah.
I'm not done. So I really enjoyed the first half of this book. I thought it was mysterious. I loved the universe that was being built. I was really, really into it. And then for me, the tempo, all that mystery wasn't as present in the second half of the book. I don't know. It just kind of lost me. I still enjoyed it, but I wanted to be just as enchanted through the whole book. I wanted there to be more surprises, and it felt a little bit more predictable, and I don't know. I couldn't get as into it.
We'll go around and talk, but I'm looking through the comments, and some people agree with you. Severe agrees with you, but people like Patty, Amber, they're saying like, I love this book. Anthony said that the second half really picked up for him. So we want to hear why you think this, because
Yes, tell us why we're wrong.
because I feel like, and I'll let Christy speak for her own opinion, but I feel like we're all kind of on the same page as far as how the second half of the book went. What do you think, Christy?
Okay, well, I love this book. The first half had me completely enchanted. I wanted to be there, and I felt like the author really transported us there, and it was amazing. And I enjoyed most of the last half. I thought that the ending was a little weak, but I don't think I had as strong feelings as maybe the rest of you.
So I agree with Talia. In the second half of the book for me, I agree with like both of you. Like the first half of the book really sucked me in, and I was really into the world. Like, you know, Lucas hated the whole thing, but
we'll get there in a minute.
the first half of the book, like really, like I loved it. Like I loved the world. I lived living in the world, and I was like excited to see where it was going. And then the second half of the book was like, oh, you're still here. Well, then I guess this happens, and then this happens, and then we get Willy Wonka at the end with Bailey.
Oh,
but,
you
like-
thought Willy Wonka too. Man.
But
But the second Willy Wonka.
but
Not as
yeah,
good.
like the Johnny Depp Willy
Yeah.
Wonka. But like, so you
not
know, we
as
got to
good
the
as
second
the
half,
first
and
Willy
I
Wonka.
didn't get the same sense of like magical, like enchanting mysticism that I got in the first half of the book, and it was disappointing for me. Lucas.
So I think if you recall, I was struggling with the first half because she jumps around so much, and I thought that there were no stakes. Like it just felt so weak to me that it was like, okay, these people are competing. So, I mean, some of her imagery was cool, but then it kind of built up to the end of the first part, and I was like, okay, we're finally kind of getting somewhere. Second part ramped up a little bit, got a little bit more interesting, and then it was just like it flatlined for me, and I couldn't, guys. It was a struggle bus the whole time, and I get like I was looking at the comments. A lot of you think it's one of your favorite books, and it's just I felt the love story was weak. Yeah,
And that's great. We want to hear from you, especially if you love the book, because convince me, change my mind.
So
That like
go ahead. Are you done?
Stephanie's saying
Yeah.
we're complaining that there's no more mystery,
Yes.
but isn't that the point of the second half? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. But like,
The way that it was explained
right?
was it's just put right in front of you. Like, and it's just like one of the things that we touched on the first discussion was I had questions about like the twins' crib and these certain things that showed up and people assumed they were coming from someone, and he was like, no, it wasn't mine. And then in the very, very end, the gray suit man was like, oh, by the way, yes, I gave you that.
Yeah. But but
Okay.
we can like, and I think we should probably pick apart and analyze the whole thing. But I just want to point this out because I know this is something that me and Lucas talked about, and this is something we want to get to. And let's just get this out of the way because Matt Scalise mentioned it. He
said it.
says, "quote
Yep.
Marco sucks.
Marco sucks,
Whatever
y'all."
is the opposite of shipping a couple, I do the opposite of that for Celia and Marco. And yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Marco sucks. Marco, you suck. I don't like you. Do I have to explain myself?
Yeah, why? Why does Marco suck?
There's just really nothing likable about him for me. Like, he's emotional to like the point of just being able to see emotion. It's like when you feel the temperature change in the air, it's like just that much, but it's like,
Yeah,
like,
but look at his upbringing. He was in an orphanage and he got adopted by the man in the gray suit who treated him terribly and totally isolated him. Like, sure, he's a little flat, but I think it's because his upbringing was the worst.
yeah, and okay, his upbringing was pretty bad, but like as a character, like I don't, other than the fact that he and Celia had some like special connection
some
bond for
reason.
some reason, like there was no reason she should have liked him. Like nobody should, like he's just a dull person that like
They didn't like each other. They liked each other's creations.
Well, but that also,
that's like liking an
It
actress
was
because
a
of
very,
a character
very
she plays.
surface level romance.
it is
and then,
not.
And then they
Fight me.
poofed each other into this circus air, and now they just like floaty love each other forever.
Let's talk a little bit about their relationship. Adam just said it was like falling in love with an actress because of the parts that she's played.
Because of a character she played.
But that's completely not right. No,
Yeah,
don't
here I'm
encourage
gonna give y'all one of those pop right
No.
there, high five.
Listen, their creations were completely from them. They were completely from their imagination, who they were and what they thought like would have the biggest impact. So that's so much more than like being given a part and acting it.
Okay, but what if he were the writer, the director, and the starring actor? And does that make a difference?
Sure, yeah, because
Okay.
you go into it and it's not just playing
Well,
a
then
part.
you still like that person that you haven't met then. You like them for what they created.
But Tsukiko even said like that everything that they created in the circus was a love letter to each other. And maybe it didn't start out that way, but they definitely built on each other and like they
Well,
were having a conversation through their creations.
I guess in this case, actions had to speak louder than words because
because they were never together.
yeah, I mean that's another thing. They had a very long distance relationship,
I
for
also
like
don't like Tsukiko. But
most
that's
of the
not
book.
okay.
Stephanie's very fired up. She says, "You don't have to
don't
love
have
him.
to love
He's not meant to be loved." Well, good. Because I didn't. She fell in love with the rooms created. Jennifer's like, I agree with Christy, sitting right over there.
Thank you.
Yes. They were flirting, dating, using the rooms. Jay, I agree with that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Let's
I
just talk about Marco.
Marco.
Let's
Polo.
Polo.
Boo.
So what, is it ghostlighting? Is that what you do
Gaslighting?
to somebody?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
When you
Sorry.
make someone think that they're
Ghostlight's
crazy.
a theater term. Sorry.
Yes, he magically ghost lit everybody.
Yeah, but Chandrish, like, let's talk about how, like,
They broke
he made
these
this.
people.
He
No,
he
Marco
made that
broke
dude
them.
like not even know where he was.
I don't
and-
think that was intentional.
Oh, come on! It was totally intentional.
He intended to like mess with his memories, but he didn't intend to completely like screw him up.
Yeah, but it's not like he
did.
did.
Yep. He
He
changes
didn't
his physical
know
appearance.
that.
He steals the knife and just makes it disappear. He's a manipulator.
Yeah, he's a classic like
We've all dated a Marco.
we have all dated a Marco.
What the knife
Polo.
thing? Sure, but wasn't that saving Chandrish? Like kind of
It
burying
was,
the
he was also
evidence?
covering his own
Lisa
butt.
Travis.
He
Let's
didn't make that happen.
Lisa
Yeah,
Travis.
Lisa.
Let's
There
talk
you go.
about what he did to Isabel. Isabel.
Okay, well
Like,
that's
Does that make him a good? Does that make him a good person? No, I think it makes him a terrible person.
Wait, I forgot.
Isabel, the fortune teller.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he sucks. Like, what? Just, no. He strung her along forever because
Years.
he wanted a companion.
We're getting real fired up on this discussion. This is good.
Well, yeah, because we've all dated a Marco, and now we all have some buried feelings about it.
Chris said Marco's better than Lucas in Wool. Lucas is kind of a flat character, but he doesn't suck.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry.
So we're talking about the characters. We're talking about Marco. Let's see what other people are saying.
Poor Isabel, Amber. I know.
I will say I was kind of glad, even though there was like no real resolution about it, I was pretty glad that Prospero just like poof and like disintegrated and slowly faded out of the book, even though there wasn't like any more information on him. I so didn't like him that I didn't care. I was just glad he was gone.
Yeah, so Jennifer's throwing down the boomstick over there.
Uh-oh.
People aren't good or bad. There's gray area in a very black and white world. Boom. Yeah. Okay.
You were right. You were absolutely right. I still don't like him.
Yeah. It's gonna make me like him.
Then what's the red?
So thanks, Matt, for sparking this very spirited discussion about Marco. But let's maybe move around the book and talk about some of the other characters, because one of the characters that I want to talk about is Bailey. And here's the and I'm waiting for. I would love for everybody to just kind of jump into the comments here, because this is going to be this is going to be sort of an inciting thing that I'm about to say. But like, what and why is Bailey? Like, period. Like,
well, y'all mentioned Willy Wonka. He's seriously just Charlie,
He's-
except he has less of a role.
yeah, except it's not. It's like,
He's necessary in order to tie up the plot.
so when the book literally comes out and says like, there's nothing special about you. You're just in the right place at the right time. When the book owns its own cop out, like, what?
Yeah, it could have been anybody, and the resolution there was not satisfying at all.
Yeah, it all of a sudden it was just like, and boom, 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 wrap this up,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna move on.
Kind of felt like a Stephen King ending.
Yeah, but Adam, I totally got the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing too. It's like, hey, plain vanilla boy, here's the circus, and
Yeah,
he's like, oh,
here you go.
so it's Bailey. So I think Bailey had a second. He started opening a series of circuses, maybe Barnum and Bailey's.
Chelsea says she's
But
taking her
that's
lunch break to
true.
be with us. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi.
We're just talking about Bailey in the Night Circus. But
that's
like,
funny.
you know, here's the thing about Bailey. I like him. I like Bailey as a person. He seems to be good-natured and good-hearted and all that stuff. And like, sure, like, you know, he's kind of the Luke Skywalker type of like, I'm just a farm boy who wishes to be somewhere else. But like, he was gifted this circus in kind of a bizarre fashion when like things just sort of needed to wrap up. And like, you know, I feel like, you know, his story with Poppet and his story with like the I guess Widget, the other two, the two people, like that was something that I was kind of into. It was, that to me was almost more interesting than Celia and
enjoyed
Marco's
that
relationship.
story. I was hoping that one would advance more than, because after you see that Celia and Marco are just like making things back and forth, I was like, okay, I want something else to happen. So I was thankful for the plot line of Bailey and Poppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I liked Poppet and Bailey, and I was kind of like, when I found out it's like, ooh, someone has to die, and then the story continued. I was like, oh,
you just
no.
found out? Like, you could tell at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I know, but I was like,
One's gonna die.
Marco should have just died.
And I think that like,
He did
think.
try, I think.
you know, I'm going to say that like part of my reaction to the book is a little bit colored by my expectations for the book, because I was kind of sold this like big, huge love story between these two dueling wizards in this life and death scenario. And then, but really it's just like, if I had come into it with a different frame and been like, this is about like a circus, and this is about like the things that happen at this magical circus and not about these two specific characters, I would have had more space for Bailey initially.
And if I'd gone in with lower expectations.
Yeah, lower expectations.
Not to imply that it's terrible, it's just that I heard from so many people that this was like this. So many people do love this book, and I get it. It was entertaining.
It's not
I
your fault.
did enjoy the book, just not as much as I wanted to.
Gabrielle says, but even with Bailey and Poppet, it's like he almost just wants to be with her to be closer to the circus. And
Yeah.
I kind of see that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, she was his gateway into the circus.
Yeah, definitely.
And he definitely had this love affair with the circus, but it's not like he even had to return the gobstopper. It's not like he even had to like do the right thing, you know, in the face of
I
observe.
mean, he did kind of have to prove himself by the circus leaving early. He like
Yeah.
chased it down.
He gave up his whole life
Yeah.
too. Like
That's true.
no
So
more
there is
farm, no family
something.
farm, no Harvard. He literally ran away and joined the circus. Like,
Kaylin says, "Gotta be honest, you all are not convincing me to finish this book."
oh no, please do. Okay, I will say. Oh well, now I'm going to spoil it. I will say one part that I did enjoy was the very, very end. Granted, I don't know if I enjoyed it because it was over or because it was just this moment. But I thought it was like a cutesy little touch at the end that.
Oh, we got Bailey's email address.
The card, and it shows that, okay.
Should we email him?
Yeah, did we? Yeah, we should email.
Who
him.
emailed
someone
him?
here emailed
Did someone-
We
You
don't know
emailed-
who emailed him, but it also shows that, so the longevity of this,
Stephanie's
like
got my
he's
number
been
today.
now running the circus for 100 years, over 100 years now. So
You're
I
right,
thought
Stephanie.
that was
It
cute.
is called the Night Circus. I should have expected that.
Cute.
Jay said
That was
something
it.
good about a love triangle with the circus being that the third pillar of a triangle, corner,
The circus
Is she a
is
pillar of a triangle?
angle,
angle.
side.
Long day.
I still wasn't buying it. I don't know. I just couldn't. I couldn't really get into it. It was just surface level for me. I was like, this is really fun to read, and
So what do you think about this? Joe
stick
says
with me.
Bailey isn't Charlie. He's Grandpa Joe. Got a selfish vibe from him.
Oh.
Can we talk about what a jerk Grandpa Joe is?
right?
Nope,
Get
nope,
up and
stay on track.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Oh no. Oh.
Nope.
Sorry.
Nope. Okay.
Leanne says, I wonder if anybody emailed Bailey. Jeff
Yes.
did.
Yeah,
did.
Jeff here.
Philip Gilfus did. He said, I assume it went into his magical spam folder. I mean, probably. I wonder if Aaron ever checked.
Melissa's in Houston. Hey.
Hey, Melissa.
Hi.
Can we talk about the knife scene? That was one scene that I.
Describe the knife scene for those
The knife
that may not
scene.
remember.
And if I'm spoiling, I'm sorry, but it is the final discussion. So the knife scene would be that where Chandrish is chasing after. He's got the
Yes.
mask on.
Oh
he's
yeah,
going after
where he
Mr.
kills the what's his
AH.
face, the clockmaker.
Yeah, Herr Thiessen. So
That made me sick.
because here in my perfect ending, I would have oft Marco and Celia and Herr Thiessen would have gotten together.
Herr Thiessen would have run the circus forever.
That was a weird.
But that was a
thing,
weird, to
though.
me, that was a really weird scene that felt, it felt hurried, and then all of a sudden there was this commotion. But it's like she raised the stakes, but then there were zero consequences. It's just like, it just disappeared, and everyone went about their business.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what about Chandrish? Like, there's no consequences? Well, Marco, I blame it on him, and, to a degree, Ghost Dad, what's his name?
Prospero.
Prospero.
Hector.
But it just felt like, this happened, and it just felt weak, like, from that part on. I don't know, what did y'all...
Well, you expect there to be a lot stronger consequences for something like that, and I think it would have made the narrative a little stronger had this magical world of the circus been upset by a murder. But like, as you say, like, everybody sort of men in blacked it, and like, nothing to see here.
The murder also seemed kind of pointless. Like, it kind of started, that's when Celia started cracking, but then she barely cracked. Like, nothing, if she's gonna, like, implode, like, she should implode. Like, I wanted something else to happen. I don't know.
But Gabrielle says it was a way for AH to take a hit to Celia. He knew she had a relationship with
Yeah.
Hare, so he was trying to weaken her for Marco to win. So I can, he did sort of like step out of the way of the knife, but I don't know if he was controlling Chandrish or anything like that.
Kathy said, did Marco get rid of Thiessen because he was so close to Celia?
I would not put that past
No.
him. That
It had
jerk.
nothing to do
I
with
don't
Marco.
know.
Prospero, like, he claimed it. He said that, Marco already had all of these thoughts and Chandrish was already, like, soaked in them. So it was really easy to push him into trying to kill AH.
He was crazy, and he knew that this man was responsible for why things were so wrong. So he was trying to eliminate that.
So I think Prospero was trying to get at AH, and then AH orchestrated another death. I mean, this isn't the first one. I don't think this had anything to do with Marco.
Well,
I agree.
so
I figured out something that's really bugging me. So I think what it is the first half of this book, she builds all of these amazing things out of magic. And then it's all of this mystery built out of magic. And then the second half, she tells you all of the answers, but she doesn't explain them. She just tells you the answers. And the reason is magic. You aren't let in on the mystery anymore. There's nothing, it's like, oh, how did this happen? Magic. That's it. It's just, how did it happen? Magic.
I'm gonna.
And it's no longer an explanation. It's just flat.
I'm gonna go further onto that thought because, like, here was my problem throughout the whole book, and me and Christy have talked about this at length because we live together, and but like, so the thing that this book never did for me, which is something that I needed, again, I get the mystery of the first half of the book and setting it up and sort of magic and mysticism and all that stuff, and it enchanted me, but. The rules were never established. I'm not talking about the rules of the challenge,
Which were also not established.
The rules, yes, which were also not established, but the rules of anything were not established. Like, I don't know what the boundaries of this magic is, and at that point, and it seemed like there weren't any. Like, there was nothing that said, like, he can't do this or she can't do this. Like, I don't know. The rules were never defined.
Yeah, there are no limits. Like, they can do whatever they can imagine.
And they do. And so, like, to Lucas's point, like, it never seemed like there were any stakes. It never seemed like they were, getting to the point. Like, she just sort of wrote in every once in a while that they were exhausted. But, like, why? It seemed like everything's so effortless.
So Joe says, this is a good point. He says the telling is the annoying part. People want to see things, not be told them. Yeah. So, like, the storytelling part was gone. It was just listing out all the things that happened and why.
And Chris says their two magics were quite different, and they were. But again, I think for me, maybe because I need things more in black and white. I don't know, But I needed to know what the rules were so I could understand what the stakes were.
Also, if there are no limits, then isn't it incredibly irresponsible of Prospero to not teach Celia how to, like, anchor her magic into something like Marco had?
When he used the fire.
And all of his books, she carried around all of that, and that's what eventually, like, started cracking everything.
Yeah, she was constantly holding the circus together.
Yeah.
So she was never resting. Also, and I lost it. Someone had a
and
here's
it's a good
point.
segue. Like he knew about AH's like methods because
Prospero was AH's student. Hi, Victoria Simpson. Really good point. Yeah. So AH started everything. It's like that's the cliche, like the typical, like, oh, the big first student went wrong, and now I make some more. Like Tsukiko, who also
It's Anakin Skywalker.
well, and it's really interesting about his students. At one point, we know that Prospero had 7 students at least. He had 7 students who sacrificed themselves to end the bets in the past. We know that Tsukiko was the last one of AH, and her duel ended 83 years ago when this book, at the point when they revealed it in the book. So,
And didn't
and
that one
that-
take 37 years to complete? There
Yeah.
one
and
point,
that one
it was
only
like,
ended because the person that she was competing against, who she was also in love with, sacrificed themselves.
yeah. So a lot of people have talked about Prospero and AH being immortal, and yeah, they've been alive for at least
Long
1,000
time.
years.
To be fair, though, Asians age really well.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Sorry, but no,
don't think
okay.
that's
So
relevant,
Tsukiko, though, I really liked her in the first half, and then I feel like she changed, or like
she was
all
used
of a
as a
sudden-
tool.
like
So look at what Joe just said. And this is something that Christy brought up a lot. Tsukiko arbitrarily decided to end the game.
Yeah.
Felt out of bounds to me. With that whole game structure, I didn't expect that to be allowed to happen. Go, Christy.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's the short of it. It doesn't make any sense. She knows the rules of the game, and the fact that there are no boundaries on like outside influences, like, it's weird that that's. I mean, we're talking about not knowing the rules. That's weird that that's not a rule. I don't know.
I did not like
The book
who
lost.
she turned out to be.
Yeah, the book
and
lost something for me when Tsukiko like.
all of a sudden was a
did
different
that,
person.
yeah.
She had been built into this, and it wasn't like this flip, like, oh, now they're revealing who they truly are. I think that's what it was supposed to be, but I didn't buy it. It just felt like, oh, well, now it'll be easier for me to write it this way if I just make her do this. And it didn't connect.
Yeah, I just feel like there were so many. And look, I'm not an author. I am barely literarily wasted. But there were too many conveniences that again, props to someone for even writing, but it just felt like, oh, I wrote this in a certain way. I don't know how to get out of it, so I'm just going to take the easy road. And it just felt like easy roads
So Christy has
through
an
the whole
interesting
second part.
factoid that
Oh,
that
factoid.
you should know.
Oh.
Is it time for that?
If you want
Yes,
it,
please.
sure.
Yes, factoid.
Listen-
This explained a lot
Listen to
me.
this.
Okay. This is from an interview that Erin Morgenstern did with somebody else. She said, the most challenging aspect of developing the story was that it didn't have a plot for a very long time. Really, my biggest challenge was finding the actual story within all the atmosphere. I had the place and the characters and the feel of the book long before it had a proper story structure to tie everything together. Yeah, she also says the challenge was one of the last elements added, and really that was what it needed the entire time it was sitting around sad and almost plotless. The setting was already black and white. It seemed to lend itself to being a chessboard of sorts. And when I read that, I was like, oh, yep, I see all of that.
So she didn't write a book. She wrote an atmosphere, and then in order to sell it at the last minute, she squished a plot in there.
Well, to be fair, she had started writing a short story, and then she got distracted with the circus stuff, and fell in love with the atmosphere and the place, and then plopped this little storyline in at the end to finish it up. But I feel like you can feel that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is totally. That's all. I'm
Why
glad
would you admit
now
that?
I'm
I'm glad
even
you.
more
Yeah, why would?
disappointed.
It's like a movie that that's beautiful to look at, but then or a video game. It's like you've got these video games. It's like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. I want to live in that. And you start playing it, and you're like, oh, this game sucks. It's horrible
Man's
because
Sky,
there's
what?
no. They didn't put the mechanics to match the atmosphere. They dreamed up this beautiful world, but at the end of the day, that was the game was secondary. Just like I don't know.
That makes me feel so much better
And I got
about my opinion.
Yeah, well, and I gotta say, like, she did an amazing job of building up this atmosphere. Like,
Absolutely.
I felt
Well, that's
it,
the best part.
and I think
Yeah.
we all fell in love with it. And we just wished for a little bit more
I
with the
still
story.
really want to go to the Night Circus. I want to go so bad. Now even more so because I'm not going to run into Celia and Marco. Like, I don't care. I'm just there for the food and the magic. Like,
Well,
So-
I think that's the one thing that we all agree on, and like all the positive comments in the group over the past couple of weeks have all been about the food. You know, what's your the food? Like, what's your favorite tent? You know, and everyone geeks out about that. But then that really is insightful.
Yeah.
This was also her first piece of published work, which is really
Yeah, no,
So
like,
congratulations, Aaron. You did it.
Yeah.
You did it. But yeah, no,
I
like
feel sarcastic.
so the challenge, you know, like that's like a big talking point on the back of the book and the blurbs and all that stuff. And when Christy read that to me in the car on the way over here, I was like, oh, okay, that's it. Yep, that's the way we all feel. But like, and so is this a good like segue into actually talking about the challenge itself and how that resolved?
Yeah, but I want to start with like, I loved the idea of the challenge. I love the idea of these two demented old men like pitting children against each other and like how it was going to end up. And I was into it. It just
So
faltered.
Stephanie
there.
says it's like Cats. The focus of is the characters and the setting, not the plot. So we just read the circus version of Cats.
Oh, no.
Julia
That's
says, I
right,
think
she
she
didn't
more wanted to save the people that were tied closely to the challenge. She didn't care who the victor was. She just didn't want the others to suffer. We're talking about Celia, I guess. But like talking about the challenge itself and how that resolved. So Celia and Marco are competing in this challenge, and throughout the entire book, for me, nothing was ever clearer to me. Like eventually had these moments, and they like revealed some things. Like, yeah, one of you has to die. Like, okay, cool, but like, why and how? And like,
Yeah.
how does this kill you? It seems to be so easy for y'all to like.
And what's
just
the
kind
point?
Of, and like, yeah.
Like, what do they win something? Like, do Prospero and AH get anything out of it other than like, I told you so?
No,
Maybe
that's
you're
bored.
just
that, but,
really
like-
bored if you've been alive forever. What else are you going to do?
Well,
Ooh, let's have people kill each
And
other.
AH did say at one point that he was trying to prove a point that Marco can do just as much as Celia without passing it off as spectacle and trickery and without being in the spotlight and being away from it and doing it from a distance.
And it being taught and not an
She was
innate
talking about
ability.
Sukiko. Yeah, Sukiko wanted to save everybody else and just end the challenge so that they wouldn't get hurt. But
I don't think anyone was in danger of being hurt because Marco was the one keeping them all safe and keeping them all alive.
No,
Yeah.
what's her face?
She had the balance. Isabel had the
was
balance.
keeping the balance,
Oh.
remember? And then when she undid that charm, that's when
I'd love to
Ethan-
talk about the balance charm because I thought that was
Yeah.
dumb.
I thought you were going to say stunning.
I thought that was dumb.
Yeah,
dumb.
no, I hated it when I
It's
didn't see-
convenience.
it was, and it was kind of pointless. And it's another thing that didn't really make.
well, it
any
kind of
sense
came
to
out of
me.
nowhere.
It did.
And yeah, she was like, I'm mad at Marco, so here's this hat that I've been keeping, and I'm gonna destroy it. And then all of a sudden, like everybody,
And then we lost Ethan.
yeah.
Thanks a lot.
And but like, yeah, so that happened sort of randomly as a way to sort of
There were a
in-
bunch of things that happened randomly.
increase tension,
Yeah.
narrative tension, but like the ending of the challenge. So like finally this climax of sorts happens at the bonfire, and Sukiko is there, and she's like, come in, Marco. She's like, what, you know what, I'm just gonna trap you in this bonfire. Remember that story about the tree you read about a long
He
time
was
ago?
like,
He's
Yeah,
like,
Isabel
okay.
pooped.
And
into the-
and so then Celia comes out, and Celia's like, no. She grabs onto Marco as Tsukiko is like transporting him into the fire somehow, and then Celia with Marco, they decide to phase out of normal existence and into like Prospero's existence, and somehow sort of bind
she does
themselves.
it.
Yeah, she does it.
He doesn't do anything.
She binds them to the
Lazy.
circus somehow, and then they're like, Bailey, thank God you're here. Can you just go light the fire again with this magic that you
Just go dump all these things in there, even though you don't know anything about magic, and it saves everything. Yay, Bailey Fire.
Jeff says it's kind of like, yeah, thank you, Jeff. for this comment. It's kind of like you had a Star Trek series where the most interesting thing is the Enterprise and not the crew or the mission. I'd still watch that.
You
But,
have watched that. Justin earlier said something great. Oh no, and now that I've said it out loud, I forgot what it was. Uh-oh. Hey Justin, what'd you say?
I don't know.
I don't
there it
remember.
is.
Oh, it was hard to understand Isabel's tarot card stuff. Yes. So
Yeah.
anytime anything came up with the tarot cards, because I don't know how to read tarot cards, I had to Google every single card as it came up and try to figure out what was being like implied, and I still didn't understand it, and none of it was explained later, magically or otherwise, and it just felt like superfluous stuff trying to build the mystery that didn't actually give me more information later on. And
I think it was
Why?
more about her reaction to what she was seeing and like the feelings that she had versus what
they
the
didn't tell
cards
us.
actually were. Well,
so it was like she flipped over the card and saw it, and then she put the card back in the deck. Why? Why?
Joe says, overall, I felt the world building was great. The concept of the challenge was awesome, but the characters stayed static and no lessons were learned. The lovers stayed in love. The challenge didn't really end, and the real bad guys, Prospero and Age, never learned their lessons.
yeah.
That was good. Is
That's-
that
that's
Joe?
He did.
Yeah,
now
Joe.
he's like a
Good
shadow
job,
in
Joe.
a
Only one of
window,
them, and
so.
AH is like still going strong. I guess he won, maybe.
No,
Since
they,
he's not
well,
like,
neither they
It
had
was a
to. It was a
stalemate.
stalemate. This
Well,
entire book was a stalemate.
I mean that he's still around.
But he gave them up in exchange for a story from Widget.
Yeah.
'Cause all of a sudden, out of nowhere, in the last 3 pages of the book, he's super into stories, and it's worth everything.
yeah, he's a very talkative person at the end of the book.
Also, this book cannot be the story that he's talking about because that story was supposed to be about AH, right? And not this one.
I think we're the story,
Well, then we're boring.
right? Because like the beginning of the book starts with the circus arrives without warning, and that's like the U section, right?
Well, and Stacy, oh, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, said, I feel like the second person you parts were another way for the reader to feel fully immersed in the circus itself. At the close of the book, she felt she had personally left the circus, which saddened her. But someone had asked, like, who wrote those parts? And Jay had actually said it was whom was mentioned to be writing accounts of visits to the circus.
Was it Who was?
That's kind
All
of,
the
I think,
people,
what was
all
implied.
the rivers.
All the
Reverse.
reverse.
Yeah.
The reverse. I like the reverse, the groupies. Like that was a good.
I don't think that's how you say it.
What?
Reverse.
Oh,
Reverse.
really? I will say, so I had mentioned this last time, and some people didn't like it, sorry, that I was not into the you chapters. Like,
yeah, I
that I
wasn't
saw
either.
it as just prose that was blocking me from getting to the next chapter. It flipped for the second half of the book. I got more into it. Maybe it was because the chapters were no longer as satisfying, but I enjoyed the you chapters as the book went
It's because the
on.
U chapters still give you that sense of magic that the beginning of the
Yes.
book did, and you're like, I just want that.
Right,
I
yeah,
just want
no.
that.
Yeah,
So
it got back to the atmosphere again. It was like, oh, you smell this and you see this and you're walking this way and you're like, oh,
Yes.
cool. And then it's like
Ooh.
gets back to this time hopping.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I know it's November 1st, 1902
Yeah.
again.
And I know we talked about like the U chapters and like, I don't know, for some reason like seeing like Bailey's email address at the end of it like really just like kicked me so far out of the thing. For some reason, I don't know why. I was like, now we're in present day and
I
like
was already at the end. I'd already given
you
up.
get a card with Bailey's email address. I'm like, he has an email address? This magical circus has an email address? Where's my like magical like mailbox? Where's my like station 9.5 or whatever?
The
Like
point was to show that so much time had passed and that the magic of the circus was continuing onward. And also, I was like, yay, the book is over. So that part didn't bother me really.
I do think it's funny. Like, one of the most frustrating things was the build-up that we should have been getting from the story. I got from seeing the book whittle away and knowing that I was coming to an end and there was no end in sight. And it's really bad when that's where you get the build-up.
yeah, no, I was definitely tracking how thick the book was as I got closer to the end. But it was just, there were just so many things that happened for seemingly no reason, or like there was nothing that like grounded it to anything else that I could make connections to, and so like it just seemed very loose, and now that we know what
Yeah,
Aaron
that's
Morganson was thinking is
Her
clearly an
interview was
afterthought.
enlightening, Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I gotta write something to sell this book.
Oh, a lot of people wanted to talk about clocks and time.
Clocks and time.
Clocks and time.
Clocks were one of the most fascinating parts
Oh
of this
my
book to me.
Gosh, yeah.
This is Jay. This is
still
Jay's
can't picture
Jay's
them.
time to shine. He's been in the comments just
Yeah.
I
shouting
know,
He's
he's
out
been
being like,
talking about
"Time."
clocks.
things about
I
clocks
had a
and
couple-
stuff.
Explain it to us.
I got a couple of his comments from the topics discussion thing. So he's talking about possibly the clock is guarding the entrance to the circus.
Oh wait, hang on. Rachel, yes, I said station 9.5. I don't read all the Harry Potter stuff. That was my best guess. At a platform 9 3/4.
He hasn't read
I'm
any
sorry.
of
You
them.
said station 9.5?
No, he said
Yeah, you did you not
That's
hear
what I
it?
said.
When? No, I tuned you out. What did you just say?
I was trying to get there with Harry Potter. Just
This is like when my sister called Hogwarts Hagendorfs one time.
listen, just be proud
she's
of
not
me
watching,
for
it's okay.
trying to make a Harry Potter reference. I was a little out of my. I should have stuck with Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There it is. Someone was waiting for Ghostbusters.
Okay.
So.
Go, Christy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the time can't pass the gate is because they have one of Teeson's clocks in the front. And they're saying,
Oh, I like that idea. The clock is the center of the bubble.
yeah, and that it bends time and holds it steady as if each day for the circus is the same 2 laps of the clock's face.
It is because oh God,
Yeah.
I don't know. I never thought about that.
And
It's probably
everywhere
'cause I don't
else,
care.
it's the same, or it's new days and people get older in age. And
Well, yeah, because isn't that the whole point when they describe the clock and how it's designed? It's everything. I don't remember all the details. It was very complicated. Everything comes to fruition
Yeah.
and then it closes back up by the time. I just now got it.
yeah.
Thank you, Jay. Sorry about that.
Does that help? Does it help things?
It doesn't make it better, but now I get it.
But there was a lot of clocks. Like everyone had a Teeson clock, and I want one so bad.
I know.
Teeson was one of my favorite
Oh,
characters.
he was one of mine too. And I think we kind of touched on it earlier, but I really felt like his relationship with Celia felt like a romance to me, and it felt more real and it had more depth than like what she has with Marco.
Yes,
Yeah.
that totally agree.
What
Even
she
though
had-
I'm pretty
what she
sure
had
their
with-
age difference was
Yeah, what she had with Marco
whatever,
was
they
like
don't die.
contrived.
After a certain point in time, what's the difference between 800 and 900 years?
it's a good point.
Ian Silva says Haagen-Dazs make me think of Haagen-Dazs, and now I want ice cream.
Sorry. That's
But yeah, the Air Teeson was like just a fascinating person. He felt very human to me. Like he felt like sort of the most human of all these, and he even stood out vocally as saying like, I don't want to know. Like I want to be swept up in this. He was like sort of Bailey in older form. So like him and Bailey, I guess, were my two like, because they were like real people to me. And
Yeah.
they are real people. They were the most
and
like real
Victor,
people.
the guy on the river that kind of took Bailey under his wing at the end, he said that the one Elizabeth was it maybe the character said why are you doing this, and he's like, well, he reminds me of Friedrich or something like that. So that was I really did like that, and in my perfect ending, Marco would have lost, and like there could have been a little hint of, because these people are drawn together because of their abilities, but that's where I wanted to leave, you know.
Amber says, was it romantic or father-daughter relationship?
I got a romance vibe, but I don't know. That's just for me reading
It was
it.
any kind of bond.
Maybe
I
he
think
was
it
the
almost
father she
doesn't
never
even-
had.
It doesn't.
Maybe.
It almost doesn't matter. It was a real human bond that she had with someone that wasn't through magic. It wasn't through manipulation. It was, They wrote to each other forever, right?
Yeah.
Like for years.
Pen
before
pals.
They even met in person. He didn't know who it was.
Well, and Celia, like she's endearing because she had all of these real relationships with Poppet and Widget and what's the, I want to say Cosette, not Colette. What, who the heck was the fortune teller?
Isabel?
Isabel. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Colette.
Colette. So I mean, she's endearing, but it's just made me think. So she's holding the circus together with the Force, right? 'Cause she's a Jedi,
Wait,
basically.
who?
Good. Celia.
Celia.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
So-
no, Isabel only was helping maintain a balance.
Right. She was maintaining the balance, but so Marco's got this book, right? and it's got people's like signatures. That
yeah,
he,
can we talk
like,
about how
can we
creepy
talk about,
he is? He's been taking everybody's hair.
That's what I want to
Yeah,
talk
that's
about.
weird.
Creepy hair
No.
man.
I don't think he asked. Don't take people's hair. It's weird. It's not nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's been stalking
PSA.
everybody and literally tying them to the circus through his creepy stalker magic book.
Well, protecting them also.
I
think
I
that
was
was the point of
very
the book.
confused as to what all these things did. Like even the balance charm, I was like, what? And the book, and I was like, why is Celia taking the book, and why is he just like, meh? And then like,
his room with all the string and stuff where they ended up making love.
Because that's what crazy
Yeah.
people do.
also Matt says he was listening to the audiobook with his daughter until they did it.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Uh,
Oh, yeah. Also, that scene was really cringy for me. And it was not because they had sex. That happens in a lot of books. But something about the way this one was written, I was like, y'all don't really know each other. All of a sudden, it got super cheese balls in here. And I did not buy into it. And I honestly was like reading the whole thing being like,
That's because the heroine just had relations with the serial killer. Because
oh, I thought you were talking about the heroin,
That's why.
like the drug.
No.
What?
The
I wasn't really paying
lady
attention.
hero.
go back to platform and a half. No, I just like, I didn't.
Matt Scalisi says, Marco takes your hair without permission. I'm protecting you!
Jay says hair or nail clippings are the strongest magics.
That's true.
Okay, but ask first.
We got a lot of magic in our bathroom.
Man, why? No. No. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't
Julie
know.
agrees
This
with you.
book-
The sex scene didn't fit with the rest of the book.
Nope.
Dan says, Psh, you should read the sex scene in this other book I'm reading now. It's weird and very long.
Sweet, Dan.
But yeah, the romance between Celia and Marco, and I know we've already talked about this a little bit. Just that to me was like a focal point of the book, and it just didn't work for me because I didn't like Marco, and I didn't understand how they would have been attracted to each other if it were not for this like magic that was set up for them.
It could also
Initially.
be that their dads were telling them not to fall for each other. That's
Oh yeah,
always,
you
like,
want what you can't have.
Yeah.
So, but also, okay, so the last game was between Tsukiko and
Her love.
Another
the other
woman,
person who
It was a
set
lady.
themselves on fire.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering though, is this part of the magical bond? Does it create this bond between these two people and they're forcibly drawn towards each other? And that's part of the challenge as well, is how does one of them die when all of a sudden they feel so connected and feel this
Well-
false love for one another because they're tied together?
It is, and they're kind
and
of
that's part of the challenge.
they kind of set that
Which
up
one's gonna
that way, just in the symbolism, because like the thing that binds you to the challenge is a
freaking
ring.
ring?
Like it also seems kind of just mean to be like, let's
we
use
know
this
they-
like romantic symbolism and these ring burned into your fingers, and like we're gonna set you up with these people that you're gonna have this connection with that like you're not gonna have any other connection with anybody else with. Also, one of you has to die. Like they're just bad people.
Yeah. Well, Leon Mott said, I think they had no choice but to love each other because of the magical nature of the binding. And Carrie White said, she thinks it has something to do with the students they choose being so well suited to each other. The competition becomes a display of how to show each other their love without being able to be with each other.
Sver says, would have been better if they fell in love and then realized they were competitors.
Yeah.
That would have been an interesting sort of
Yeah.
movie twist there.
Well, talking about the ring, like it wasn't always on their finger because Tsukiko had hers burned
Yeah.
into her back or her chest, and then they actually did that with Bailey too. But I was wondering if Erin Morgenstern was going to go in a certain direction because at one point Bailey is getting fitted for a gray suit. And then he gets
Oh.
a ring burned into his chest, and I was really hoping there was going to be something circular happening.
Oh,
there.
I thought the same thing when they were fitting Bailey. I was like, is he gonna be the gray man?
That's what I was wondering.
But he was
I
like, it was the
hoping
future
for
and that
it.
was the past, and like
Yeah.
I don't. But that was hard to like put together. And I was trying to rationalize that, but like, Yeah, I thought that too. I had the same thought.
I just assumed it was gray because that's the color scheme.
Well, and also it suited him apparently.
Rachel says, still don't understand how you can love someone you don't even know, lol, but thinking about it, that might be why Bailey was able to save the circus, because it was the opposite, and that he knew he loved the circus before he was tied to it.
Yeah. Well,
So-
he explored it, and he explored it with, people who were intimate with the circus, and I think he had like such a strong relationship and strong bond with the circus.
And Bailey, I just wish that Bailey's story I just wish that he had like had more of an active role in, other than like chasing down the circus, which is the only thing that he kind of did. The act of saving the circus was following instructions, and like, there was in his mind, he's like, please work, but I had zero doubts that it wasn't gonna work. Like, there was nothing. I was like, yeah, it's gonna work.
Well, and let's, people, I think we're talking about Bailey. Come on, it's 1902. You have the choice between sitting in a field with some sheep, going to Harvard, or going and living in Magic Land. Which are you really going to choose in 1902?
You're gonna get swept up in Magic Land.
How much of your family are you going to disappoint, I think, is the right question there.
Yeah, but he hated most of them. It
Yeah.
sounded
Well,
like.
His sister sucked.
And he felt deep obligations to his dad and to his grandmother, I think.
So let's acknowledge what Stephanie says here. Y'all are putting too much focus on the romance. It's not about the romance, it's about the circus, how it came about and why, and how it continued to be. It's about the circus.
Well, and the
I love the circus.
Yeah, the circus was the best part of the book by far, and I think the reason why we're talking about the romance so much is that it was one of the
They're on
weaker
the
points.
cover.
That's true.
They're on the cover. It's misleading. It makes you think it's about the love story, but it's not.
Let's talk about how they ended up, though. Sorry, a little bit more, but like the existence that they have now, that the circus has been given to Bailey, sounds terrible. Like they're connected to the circus and they're just ghosts.
Ghostly figures.
Yeah.
But like, so going to Stephanie's point, yeah, that sucks
At least they
for
can
them. But
keep
like,
awkwardly and creepily
yeah,
doing
they can
it
make
in
out
the
with each other,
kiss.
but
They can touch each other, but no one else.
yeah, hopefully they don't get tired of each other. But like being about the circus is fine, but like personally, I'm the kind of person that if you tease me with story bits, I'm gonna get into it, because like I want it. Like that's what
I'm gonna need them
Yeah.
to come to fruition, please.
Yeah, like I love that it was about, if it had just been the descriptions of goings on of the circus, I would have been like, cool, I'll read that. But
Well,
it wasn't just about, it was about this challenge. Like they made it was about the challenge before it was even about the circus, even though the book's called The Night Circus. I get it.
the book is not about the challenge and the people, I think. Oh gosh. It's more about the circus. But Jo says, if we're going to talk about what she succeeded at, I think it can be summed up by Thiesen's quote at the beginning of part 5. I think of myself not as a writer so much as someone who provides a gateway, a tangential route for readers to reach the circus, to visit the circus again, if only in their minds, when they are unable to attend it physically. I relay it through printed words. Oh, let's keep scrolling. When put that way, it sounds rather like magic, doesn't it? And she was an expert at that.
Yeah, no, I am fully like committed to like loving the circus and the ambiance that she created and the magic like that. I was infatuated with it. I was like, I want more of that.
I love the magic.
She pointed out that they're facing away from each other on the cover.
Oh, that's true. Well, I mean, they also have a...
Wait, no, they're not.
Yeah.
Their bodies are facing away from each other, but their faces are not. Their faces are turned back towards one another. So their bodies are turned away. They're like that.
Well, I think that kind
Symbolism.
Yes.
My body must go this way, but my heart face goes this way.
My mind's telling me no.
So you have his umbrella too.
But
Yes. The umbrella was cool. I liked that part.
But yeah, that and if you love this book, it's good. I love the parts of the book that made me wish I was there. I just wasn't a big fan of the story. Sorry, I saw a comment from Joe about Ghostbusters.
Nope, let it go. Patty makes a good point. She says, I don't understand why Marco couldn't be with the circus. I don't either.
Well, I think A.H. specifically wanted it that way, because he wanted to prove the point. He wanted to prove that he didn't have to be a part of it, and he could do it from a distance, and he could do it disjointed from it and still succeed and do it as well as Celia.
That's a good point. Lisa says, I'm very much looking forward to her new book. She's a master at building the world and environment. Where'd it go? Environment that
the story takes place in.
I agree with that. And honestly, this book actually did make me want to read her next one. I think she is fantastic at building atmosphere and creating this universe. And also, I kind of want to see, I want to know if it's better than this one.
Well, also, this is her first published work, and if
Yeah.
this is the first one, like, I can't wait to see what else
Yeah.
she's able to do.
And it's been,
When she gets better. That was written in 2011.
I just hope
or
that
something like
the atmosphere and the story go along on the same plane this time. Because
well, I mean, if she herself admitted that she wrote the universe with and put the plot in at the last minute, and this was 10, almost 9 years ago or whatever, before it was actually published in 2011, then I would imagine that's probably not how the second one went.
yeah,
And who knows? What's it called? The Endless
endless sea, starless sea.
Starless Sea? See, even that just sounds magical.
Yeah, I
guess.
think she's gonna take us someplace great again.
When I really liked the scene where they were in the, I can't remember now if it was in the same the poem, the sonnet forest where he had written all the. I mean, there's so many great.
The imagery.
Yeah, the imagery was beautiful, and I was like, God, if they this could be a really solid movie where if they tie up if they tighten it up a little bit, because there's so much
It would be
awesome
beautiful.
imagery, it would be awesome.
So
but I loved the scene with the boat and the ink, and like that was great.
This is one of those things that, like, yes, it could, but I would rather them not make this into something that I can visualize on the screen. I don't want them to, like, I actually think that, like, reading the book for me was a better, like, more immersive experience than, like, watching it on a screen. And that's my preferred method of entering this world, unless I could actually do it for real, which would be awesome. But
Direct the movie.
what?
Direct the movie.
No, like, actually be in the Night Circus.
Like, go
just
there.
go to it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
don't
I mean,
wanna
I'd
live
direct the movie.
forever. Ugh.
No, just be a,
Paramount
one of
or
the guests.
Okay, that's fine.
20th Century Fox or whoever's out there that wants me to make this movie. Jay says, I bet the guys at Ghostbusters could catch the ghostly figures in the Night Circus.
So
There it is.
on YouTube, Miria? I hope I said that right. Sorry. She said, what about the bracelet of hair that Isabel had?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, wait, I may have missed that.
So that was in the first half.
She
and
spent
then
a lot of time making it, and then
Yes.
she took it off when
she braided her hair and his hair together, and someone else said maybe Isabel was trying to affect his love, and then he poof made it disappear. But yeah, she had spent all this time trying to braid their hair together. Was that also a creepy charm?
I'm sure
Isabel
that was a
creepy
charm.
too.
Yeah.
They're all
Baby
kind of creepy.
creeping.
Like, everybody's got a little creepy in this. Celia, Marco, Isabel, Tsukiko to some extent.
Yeah.
Just kind of creeping around. Even Chandresh, kind of creepy.
Yeah. Well, and they made it seem it was like, oh well Bailey, you can do this magic too. It's like anybody could do it if you just have, magic
Everybody's
for dummies
hair.
or
That
something.
That was,
Yeah.
no, that was the point of AH's teaching methods, was
Yeah.
that he can make anybody do it. It's just learning it. Like, because he was teaching, and then Celia she had the gift already. So hers was just an innate ability.
So Julie says, everyone is creepy because they are all manipulative, working for their own motives. And yeah, so we talked about being manipulative. That was my biggest problem with, like, most of the people in this book, is that, like, so much manipulative behavior towards other people, and, like, selfish manipulation of what's going on. Even doing it for the sake of their relationship and not the challenge was selfish. Like, everything was, like, just a lot of selfish actions.
Y'all, I've read 3 books in 3 months.
Yay.
You're about to read 4 books in 4 months, because
know.
next month's book, September's book, right? That's next month?
Yep.
Yes. Is Vicious,
Vicious.
by V.E. Schwab. We're all very excited. I know some of you have already started reading, which is totally fine, but don't post any spoilers in the group, because I can't start until like the week before. We're all really excited. If you don't have a copy yet, and if you have a local Second and Charles, you can go there and say that you're in our book club and get it for 20% off. And technically, you can go there in the next 30 days. in the next few days and get the Night Circus still. If you buy it this month, you could still get it and then, just read the whole thing in like 3 days.
So we wrapping up Night Circus?
I think so.
Is there anything else? It's quick. If you have something that you want to say it quickly. We're looking.
And while we wrapping up the Night Circus, remember that if you haven't yet, leave a comment in our chat, because both Facebook and YouTube, if you're wherever you're watching, leave a comment so that you can win or be entered to win our Mostly Mystery Box giveaway.
Oh, and this wasn't in the picture. We just added it thanks to our fairy godmother, Sierra.
Sierra!
Look at this koozie.
Yes, now you can put your literally wasted koozies. Look at that.
Drinking.
So
that's in there. There's going to be a glass in here and a t-shirt in here and a bookmark and then some other really cool stuff that you won't find out about until you get it.
Savannah wants to talk about
rare and collectible book in there too.
Yes, there is. Ooh. There's a really, really cool book in here valued at $150.
What?
Because it's fancy.
So Savannah wants to talk about Pradva, Madame Pradva. We never really talked about her.
The ballet lady who made the costume.
The costuming lady.
Yeah. She just up and she was like, "Oh, I know we're not aging. I don't really want to be a part of this anymore. Peace out." She did, right?
Yeah, no,
she
that was basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she was like, "Oh, this was cool." But I'm old.
She was interesting at first, and then she kind of disappeared for a lot of the book. She was apparently pretty magical. Everybody had like magical powers, even if they weren't like magicians. Like she was magic with the costumes.
How convenient that Tsukiko was a contortionist.
Arethyson was magical with clocks. Like people had these like extraordinary abilities.
Yeah, but
they
I
weren't
also think
magicians.
Chandrish was collecting those kinds of people for years.
Yeah, he was a collector.
Years. And when he finally decided he wanted to do this amazingly big thing, he like knew exactly who to like gather around him.
Yeah. Trish just wrote her out. Caitlin, so a comment in the live show enters you in the drawing? Yes.
That's all you have to do. And you don't have to do it a lot because that doesn't gain you multiple entries, just once a
Well, we just want you to be here. Be our friend.
Ian says, what's the guy got to do for some literarily wasted sweatpants?
Oh.
Those would be nice.
Yeah.
Hey, we
Sierra.
we just
pajama
added the
pants?
koozie, so one step at a time. But that's not a bad idea. It is going to start to get a little chillier outside.
In like 3 months.
So,
Sorry, we're in Alabama. It's way hotter here.
What?
Do we want to say anything about DragonCon?
Oh, DragonCon!
Oh, yes! Sorry.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, so we're tomorrow. We're leaving to go to Atlanta for DragonCon. So if y'all are going to be in the Atlanta area at DragonCon, if you're going or just around, stay tuned to our Facebook page. We're gonna and our Instagram. We're gonna post. We're gonna try to have a meetup there. Where we say we're going to be here, like come meet us and hang out with us. There is also going to be a Second and Charles booth at America's Mart with literarily wasted stuff. You can go buy Vicious there. You can go get some cool stuff.
And the koozies are going to be there.
Koozies are going to be there. So stop by America's Mart in the vendor's room to see the Second and Charles. We're going to be there at some point, but we'll let you know. We'll stay tuned. We'll create an event on Facebook, and we're really excited. We're also going to be on a few panels. Talia and I are. I'm doing improv on Friday night, so we'll see how that goes. It's like geeky improv with one of the.
How do you feel about that?
I'm very nervous about it. It's geeky improv with one of the actresses from Winona Earp. If you're into that show, I'm going to be doing improv with her. So she's good at it. I'm not. So
and that will make it funny.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, so DragonCon, check us out there. We'll be there. Stay tuned.
We will be posting updates on that on our Facebook and our YouTube, and well, not YouTube, our Facebook and our Twitter and our Instagram. So if you don't follow us on all of those, please go do so that you don't miss any of the cool, fun things that we're sharing and doing. We also have a Facebook group called the Literarily Wasted Lounge, where we sometimes go into more depth about things that we've talked about, and all of our amazing members are constantly sharing cool stories, funny memes, like all sorts of stuff.
Mandy wants to know what we're dressing up as at DragonCon.
Ooh,
should we go
Talia. Yeah,
What?
What are you dressing up as?
I am dressing up as, I have 4. I don't know that I'm going to wear them all, but I have Snow Fight, which is my version of Snow White. I'm dressing up as Stevani Universe, And then I also have Captain Marvel and Incognito Captain Marvel.
I'm gonna be a Ghostbuster. Surprise!
Surprise!
And my brothers and I are gonna, the three of us, we're gonna be the three amigos.
Nice.
We're gonna learn the song. We're gonna run around the Marriott just singing the song over and over again.
Oh, great.
And then I'll let Christy talk about our joint costume, our couple's costume that we're doing.
Yeah, so we are dressing up as the Super Mario Brothers from the movie.
From the movie, the Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo classic.
You said you were gonna let her talk about it.
No, this is better.
This is the classic 1993 film Super Mario Brothers, starring Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. And this year we do not have the Thwomp Stompers, which are the boots, but next year, definitely. We're excited.
What else are you dressing up as?
I'm also going to be Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I have a Star Trek red dress so everyone can tell me to watch out and be careful everywhere I go. It's great.
I'm so sorry. Lucas, what are you dressing up as?
I'm going basic. It's my first time at Dragon Con, and I'm kind of following these guys around. And I go to so many trade shows for my real life that it's kind of nice to just go to something that A, I'm really invested in, and then B, just not really have a schedule. That being said, my only dress up is I'm going to do a cosplay. I'm dressing up. I'm going to be Literarily Wasted Man. I'm going to be wearing my lit wasted shirt, and Christy has made some awesome, unique swag that will be available only there. So we'll see some of our fans there. I don't know. But anyway, my cosplay, I'm going to do Captain N, the Game Master. That was a lesser known, I've got some video game fans here. Google it, Captain N, the Game Master. It was a cartoon and a comic in the 80s.
You should do Edward 40 Hands for Literally Wasted Man.
Edward 40 Hands.
Sorry. Anyways, thank you so much to Second and Charles for letting us come do this in your store, for giving all of our book club members a discount on our books, and for just being awesome. And thank you to all of you for being patient and
Yes, thank you guys.
sticking around until we got this working.
So sorry
and then
about
for
that.
still being here. We love you guys.
Yeah, we love y'all. Y'all are the best. You make this so much fun to do. So keep commenting in the group. Keep engaging with each other. It's
Share it with your friends, please. We're so close to breaking 1,000 members in our group.
Yeah.
And it'd be super, super cool if we did that soon.
Yeah,
Who knows, maybe if we're excited, we'll just
being
get
in the
some
group
cool
is like
way.
being in the Night Circus. It's a magical place. So,
It is probably, I have another group of game things that's probably equally as positive, but it's so nice to go to a place that's just friendly and positive all the time. So props to everybody. Love you guys.
And we'll see you next month for Vicious, which we're all super excited about. Look how excited Christy is.
I'm really excited.
Look how excited she is.
It's going to be great. It better be great.
That will be on Wednesday, September.
The
Oh, my
11th.
calendar went weird. 11th. We will be doing the first live stream for Vicious.
So get to reading.
Thank y'all so much.
2 weeks.
And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.